Alright, what's up everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today is power rankings time. It's the first of the month. That means it is power rankings for February. I'm going to give my personal power rankings to every team 30-1, talk about every team for a little bit. So, yeah, you get a chance to hear your favorite team get talked about here in today's video where I rank them. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, also like that. I really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. This morning I checked and we hit 500 subscribers, man. I'm so appreciative of it. We're on the road to 500 for like a month, and we finally get there right when the new month starts. It's been crazy. This month has been crazy. We've gained 84 subs this month. We came into 2024 with 414 subs, and we leave the first month with 500. I'm just thank you guys so much. Got a lot of new viewers and stuff on the channel. Videos been going crazy recently, and that's all thanks to you guys. I really appreciate it a whole lot. And yeah, it just makes me want to, keep it going, do more. And we also have a special announcement at the end of the video, so stay tuned for the end of it. I got a little special announcement for you guys. But link to my Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that in the description down below. And don't waste any more of your time because it's going to be a long one. Let's get right into it. So we're starting at number 30. We have, no surprise, the Detroit Pistons. They are 6-41, 15th in the East, worst record in the NBA. They have the 26th ranked offense, 29th in defense, 29th in net rating. They stay the same, still at number 30. Giving you, if you're new to the power ranking video, so basically I give the team, give some numbers, stats, and then I go really in depth to the team. So look at just some of their numbers. They are not good. 29th in three-pointers specifically. They don't hit. 29th in three-pointers made, three-point attempts. They turn the ball over a lot, 29th in turnovers per game. They're 30th in steals per game. Offensively, they're not good. Then defensively as well. They're 30th in points off turnovers as well because they don't get steals, they don't get turnovers. But they're also 30th in opponent points off turnovers. So, they score the least amount of points off turnovers, and they give up the most amount of points off turnovers. So that's something. They also give up a lot of free throws. They're 29th in opponent free throws made, free throw attempts, free throw percentage. 28th in opponent turnovers per game, so they're not forcing turnovers either. 29th in opponent steals, which means they're giving up a lot of steals, and 27th in opponent points per game, so they're bottom 5 in giving up points. The one good thing about their defense, I guess, is threes. They don't give up a lot of threes. Second in opponent three-point attempts. Well, they don't give a lot of attempts. Teams are making them, obviously. But we know it's about Detroit. They suck. They also went on a stretch where Cade Cunningham was injured. He's back now, though. But, they did give a good fight last night to the Cavaliers. They did have a streak where they won 2 of the last 3. They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder convincingly. So that's a little bit of a, good head start. Good start a little bit, I guess. Interesting to see what happens when the trade deadline approaches. We're a week away from the trade deadline. See what guys move and not. Cade Cunningham has still been great, averaging 22, 4, and 7 with a steal. Boyan Bogdanovic is shooting 41% from 3. Jaden Ivey is getting better as the year goes on. Jalen Duren is averaging 14 and 12. He had a 20-20 game. Alec Burks is really good. He's shooting 40%. He's shooting better from the 3 than from the field. He's shooting 40% from 3, 39% from the field. He's been great. Daniel Gallinari in his first couple games has not missed a 3-pointer. So there's been some good. There's been some good in it. Killian Hayes didn't play last night, so maybe Killian Hayes has lost his spot in the rotation. I guess, I don't know. But the Pistons, they've been playing a lot better recently. They're fighting. That's one thing about this team. They give effort, they fight, stuff like that. But it's just, they're just not really that good. At 28, we have 29, we have the Washington Wizards. They are 9-38. They're 14th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 25th offense, 28th defense. They're 29th in net rating. They dropped 1 spot from last power ranking video. The Wizards are another team. They suck. They've been on the bottom the entire year. Looking at some of their numbers. Offensively, honestly, looking at their numbers, they're not horrible. They're about average-ish to below average in a lot of their offense. The only thing they're not good at offensively is rebounding. They're one of the worst. They're a really bad rebounding team, 30th in rebounds per game. They are first in pace, though. So they play really fast. They're getting up and down the court. They're 4th in points off turnovers, so that's where they score a lot of their points. 3rd in fast break points, 2nd in points in the paint. They are 20th in second chance points because they're a bad rebounding team. But defensively, they are very, very bad. 30th in opponent second chance points. So, they're not scoring second chance points, and they're giving up a lot of second chance points. 29th in opponent points in the paint. So they're second. They're really good at scoring in the paint, and they're really bad at defending the paint. They're 30th in opponent field goals made, 29th in opponent field goal attempts. like 30th in opponent offensive rebounds, 30th in opponent defensive rebounds, 30th in opponent total rebounds per game, 30th in opponent assists, and 30th in opponent points per game. Means they give up the most amount of points per game in the NBA. Defensively, yeah, they suck. That's the thing. And yeah, 9-38. We expected this team kind of to suck, and they have been. One thing, I tweeted this out yesterday, but I'm very excited for this trade deadline. Kyle Kuzma. I really hope he does get traded. There's a report yesterday, because there's been reports about the Wizards asking price for Kyle Kuzma and how it is, but apparently it's not. Apparently, a report came out yesterday said that it's kind of overblown. They don't really want 2 first-round picks or anything like that for Kyle Kuzma. But I think Kuzma can really contribute to a really good playoff team like Sacramento, Dallas, or a team like that. I mean, this year he's averaging 22, 6, and 4, shooting 45% from the field, 33% from 3. He's been kind of like the lead ball handler a little bit for Washington as well, and it's been working. He's been good. Marvin Bagley, since they traded for him in his 8 games, he's averaging 15 and 8, shooting 61% from the field. That's good. Daniel Diaz has been solid. Tyus Jones has been stepping his game up. He potentially could be a trade candidate. Bilal Coulibaly got named to the Rising Stars team. I really like what he's been doing this season. There's a few good things to like in Washington. A lot of bad, though. And, yeah, very interesting to see, what happens with Kyle Kuzma, what happens at the trade deadline with them. At 28, we have the Charlotte Hornets. They are 10-36. They're 13th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 27th offense, the 30th ranked defense, and net rating, they are 30th as well. They dropped 1 spot from last power ranking video. The Hornets are very, very bad as well. Looking at some of their numbers. Offensively, they're 28th in points per game, 20th in field goal percentage. They don't get to the free throw line either. They're 30th in free throws made and free throw attempts. Rebounding, they don't do that either. 29th in defensive rebounds, 29th in total rebounds per game, 28th in assists. They're 20th in true shooting percentage, 20th in effective field goal percentage. Defensively, it does not get better at all either. 29th in opponent field goal percentage, 30th in opponent three-point percentage. That means teams are just lining them up from the field and from 3. 27th in opponent assists. They're a bad team. And it also sucks that LaMelo Ball, unfortunately, has not been able to play. He came back for a little bit. And now, he's missed a couple games again. He's really been the only thing. They traded away Terry Rozier, finally. And now they're trying to work on trading Kyle Lowry. Miles Bridges potentially could be on the move as well. Gordon Hayward might get bought out eventually. I haven't seen Gordon Hayward play in a little while as well. But there's some good things to like. Brandon Miller, I really like what he's been doing. He's averaging 15, 4, and 2, shooting 43% from the field, 37% from 3. He's been really good in the last couple games. PJ Washington has been stepping up the last few games as well. He might be a trade candidate. Nick Richards has been solid. I like Nick Smith Jr., their late first-round pick this year out of Arkansas. He should probably play a lot more. He's been pretty solid, shooting 46% from 3, averaging 6 points when he does play. So, yeah, they got guys like Leaky Black and Nathan Mensah playing, and Frank Ntilikina is playing as well. So that just shows you everything that you need to know about this Charlotte Hornets team. They are very, very bad. They've been very bad recently. At 27, we have the San Antonio Spurs, our first Western Conference team. They are 10-38. They're last in the West. 28th offense. They're 25th defensively. 20th net rating. They jump 2 spots, going from 29th to 27th. The Spurs have been putting together recently. I think they won 5 games last month. Because looking at last month's power rankings, comparing last month's power rankings to this month's power rankings. Last month they finished 5-27. Now they're 10-38. So they won 5 games. So they won as many games in this month as they did the first 3 months of the season. They're getting a little bit better. Looking at some of their stats, it's still not great, especially offensively. They're 4th in field goal attempts, so they're getting up their shots. They're not making a whole lot of shots though. They're 29th in three-point percentage, even though they shoot kind of average. They don't get to the free throw line a lot. 20th in free throws made, 29th in free throw attempts, 27th in true shooting percentage. But they are 3rd in assists. They're 4th in blocks. They're 5th in pace. So they're playing fast. They're getting assists. They're 5th in fast break points, all the stuff like that. They're just not really in the half court. They are very bad. Defensively as well, they're 27th in opponent three-point attempts, so they're not guarding the 3 well. 28th in opponent defensive rebounds, which is very interesting because you have a 7'4" center, and 29th in opponent rebounds per game. So they're not good at stopping other teams from getting rebounds, which is very weird because again you have a 7'4" center, but he also is not playing that much. But yeah, Wemby is really good. I think he's had 10 games in a row with 20 or more points. He's averaging 20 and 10, 3 assists, a steal, 3 blocks, shooting 46% from the field. He's had some really good games. He's been, balling as recently. Devin Vassell as well, 18 points per game. Jimmy Sohan's actually had a good year as well, averaging 11, 6, and 3. After that, again, it's been very kind of, we don't know. Keldon Johnson's coming off the bench now. Zach Haas hasn't really played much recently. He's injured. They have some decent things over there. I guess Trey Jones has his moments once in a while. But after that, there's just not really that much going on in San Antonio. But they are they have been a lot more competitive recently. And again, they won 5 games last month, which is the same amount they won the first 3 months combined. So yeah, and Wemby's playing a lot more. Getting a lot more comfortable with the game. And yeah, that's really the only reason I watch the Spurs. Like every time Wemby's on the court, I watch the Spurs. As soon as he comes out, I'm like, all right, yeah, time to change the channel. That's really the only reason to watch them right now. At 26, we have the Portland Trailblazers. They are 15-33. They're 14th in the Western Conference. They have the 29th ranked offense, 21st defense. They're 26th in net rating. They stay the same from last power ranking. Portland, they got a good win last night. They beat the Bucks in Dame's return. So that's a good win. They are competitive sometimes, but not all the time. They go on stretches where it's like, man, they suck. Offensively, especially, they're 29th in points per game, 28th in field goals made, 29th in field goal percentage, 30th in defensive rebounds, 30th in assists, 27th in turnovers, 30th true shooting percentage, 30th effective field goal percentage. So they just cannot shoot the ball well. They're 30th in points in the paint. They are third and second chance points because their defense actually is not bad. Their defense honestly has been carrying them. Like the entire of the year, they've been a pretty decent defense considering what this team is. They're third and second chance points, which means they're first a lot of turnovers. They're 20th in opponent points off turnovers because they turn the ball over so much. They're 20th in opponent fast break points. That's the only really bad thing about their defense. And they're 27th in opponent points in the paint. But after that, their defense actually is not that bad. They're fourth in opponent three-pointers made, first in opponent three-point percentage. So they're not giving up threes, and teams are not shooting the three ball well, and they're fourth in opponent turnovers. So they're forcing turnovers and not giving up threes, which is like the main thing on defense, especially nowadays. It's just their offense is so bad that they can't really win games. Interesting to see what they do. Anthony Simons is back. He's averaging 23 points per game. He's been really good. Jimmy Grant has been balling recently too, trying to get that trade value up. Malcolm Brogdon has been very solid. He'll probably be on the move eventually. Guys like Duop Reith, Jabari Walker, Tamari Kamara, are really stepping up and balling. Like they're guys that not many people know, but they've been playing ball well recently. Scoot Henderson, one of his best games of his career last night, especially the first half. He took that little Dame matchup personal, but he's been getting slowly better and better and better as time goes on. You can see it. He's getting a little more comfortable each night, and getting better. And last night was a big game for him, especially on ESPN, national TV. People saw what he can do, and now hopefully he can take this throughout the rest of the year and keep improving, But yeah, Portland, again, I'm interested in the trade deadline, what they're going to get from Malcolm Brogdon. If Jimmy Grant does get traded, what does that look like? Do they have another move in them? I don't know. But yeah, very interested to see what happens there. That's really the only interest. But yeah, Portland, they're just a young team just trying to figure it out. At 25, we have the Toronto Raptors. They are 17-30. They're 12th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 18th defense, 20th ranked, or 18th best offense, 20th ranked defense, 22nd in net rating. They drop a one spot from last power ranking video. The Raptors, a lot of their numbers are going to look better than they actually are because, again, they had the OG and Pascal to start the season, and they're actually like around playing range. They're actually like kind of decent at that point. But since they traded both those guys away, they they have not been great since the OG trade. It's just this OG trade. They are 5-10, and specifically since they traded away Pascal Siakam, they are 2-5. They went on a 5-game losing streak before they beat the Bulls on Tuesday. But yeah, they have not been good since trading OG and Pascal, which that's what they should be. They should not still be competing. They're trying to go young. There's a report that came out recently about Masai Ujiri that said everybody besides Scotty and I think Quickly or Scotty and RJ are available. So Chris Boucher, Gary Trent Jr., Dennis Schroeder, whoever wants them, they can go get it. And I'm very interested to see what the Raptors do at the trade deadline. I think teams will want Dennis Schroeder. It's just a good solid backup point guard, and he was kind of disgruntled after they got Quickly. He moved to the bench. Gary Trent Jr. got in the last year of his contract. A 3-point shooter. Teams always want one of those just snipers. He's not afraid to shoot the ball. Chris Boucher is solid. Backup wing forward that can shoot threes, block shots, do all stuff like that. They have some interesting pieces over there. So I'm very, again, want to see what the Raptors do at the trade deadline now that OG and Pascal are kind of gone. They're going for the youth movement, which I really love a whole lot. And that's really it, because some of these numbers kind of aren't like they look better than what they actually are, because again, they had the start of the year where they were kind of okay, but yeah, now they suck without Pascal and OG, which they should. At 24, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. They're 18-29, 13th in the West. They have the worst offense, 30th, but top 10th defense. So you have the worst offense, but a top 10 defense, 20th in the net rating. They jumped one spot from last time. The Grizzlies have been really surprisingly good despite having nobody. Look at some of their numbers. Offensively, their numbers look just very bad. 30th in points per game, 30th in field goals made, 30th in field goal percentage, 20th in three-point percentage, even though they're top 5 in shooting threes. They're not making threes. 29th in true shooting percentage, 29th in effective field goal percentage, 20th in fast break points, 29th points in the paint. But defensively, they're really holding the ground. 3rd in blocks, they're 5th in points off turnovers, they're 4th in opponent field goal attempts, 3rd in opponent turnovers per game. So yeah, they're not a good rebounding team. 20th in opponent defensive rebounds, 27th in opponent rebounds per game, 30th in opponent blocks. So they're blocking shots and they're getting their shot blocked a lot. But this defense has really been holding them down, and it's, big shout out to Taylor Jenkins. He's really keeping this team despite. I'm looking at the injury report right now, and there are 10 players on the injury report currently right now for the Grizzlies. And out of these 10, like 8 of them are actual rotational players. It's really just been Jaren Jackson and the bench. Jaren Jackson and the G Leaguers out there. And they've been good. Jaren Jackson's had his good moments. He's averaging 22, 5, and 2 with almost 2 blocks per game. They have other guys that are playing ball. Vince Williams Jr. has been the second best player on the Grizzlies. He's averaging 8, 5, 2, shooting 39% from 3. Gigi Jackson, the 45th overall pick, the youngest dude in the league. He's come out and he's had some big nights. He had a game against the Warriors on MLK Day on TNT where really people started to know his name. He's been solid. Santi Aldama has done some things. Luke Kennard has been in that lineup, but when he's in there, he's shooting 43% from 3. David Roddy, Zaire Williams, Jacob Gilyard. He's 5'8". He's out there balling. They got new guys in. Scottie Pippen Jr. is getting an opportunity. He had a decent game the other day. Matthew Hurt came in and put up 10 points in the game. The Grizzlies just, they're living up to the grit and grind name. Their offense sucks, but they're just going to come in, play defense, play hard, rough up the game, and try to get you like that. That's how they beat a couple teams. I mean, they beat the Warriors like that. They had a good win against the Miami Heat in Miami against that. They beat the Magic like that. They beat the Raptors like that. They're coming in and roughing up the game. You're not going to know anybody on this Grizzlies team besides Jaren Jackson, but that doesn't matter because they're going to come in and they're going to play hard. At 23, we have the Brooklyn Nets. They're 19 and 28. They're 11th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 17th offense, 18th defense. They're 19th in net rating. They dropped 2 spots from last video, the last power rankings. The Nets, they're kind of just like a bland team. Look at the numbers. They don't really stand out a whole lot of things. They're 3rd in field goal attempts, but they're 27th field goal percentage. They're 5th in offensive rebounds, which is good. They're 3rd in opponent points off turnovers, 2nd in opponent steals, so they're not turning the ball over, and they're not giving up a lot of points off turnovers, but besides that, they don't really do anything spectacular. This team just is not that great. Ben Simmons came back for a game and had a really good game. 10, 8, and 11, plus 27 in a blowout. They put up 147 points. He looked really good, and then he's hurt again. So, we have that. Mikal Bridges has been solid, averaging 22 points, shooting 37% from 3. Cam Thomas has been kind of up and down. He's still averaging 21 a game. Nick Claxton's had some moments. Lonnie Walker's back, and he's been really good. I love what Lonnie Walker has been. But this Nets team just is not good. And there's been a lot of talk about Mikal Bridges and what his trade value is like, and teams are trying to get Mikal. But apparently the Nets don't want to trade him. Apparently there's an offer. The Rockets offered him a couple first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, and the Nets said no, which I don't know why. But I don't know what the Nets are thinking. But I guess the Nets aren't trading anybody, even though they should, because they have a lot of valuable pieces on this team. Like Mikal Bridges, obviously, but even besides him, like a Royce O'Neal, Dwayne Finney-Smith. You know how many playoff teams would love to have a Royce O'Neal or Dwayne Finney-Smith on their team? Especially when he's not had a great year, but he can be a decent backup point guard if he goes somewhere. Lonnie Walker's had a really good year. He can be, provides buckets off the bench. They have a lot of players that really could go to other teams and really stand out and contribute to winning. It's just them all together just doesn't contribute to winning because they're basically just a team full of role players. And Mikal Bridges, we thought he was going to be, maybe he could take the number 1 spot. It looks like he's not a number 1, but he could be a really good number 2 and number 3, which is, that's still really good, which is why it's very confusing that the Nets don't want to trade him. But maybe they're bluffing. Maybe eventually they're going to be like, no, we'll just give up on Mikal. And they should just kind of trade everybody and kind of blow this up because this team does not look good right now. At 22, we have the Atlanta Hawks. They are 20-27. They're 10th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 12th best offense, 27th defense. They're 23rd in net rating. They actually jump one spot from last power ranking video. But the Hawks, they've been very disappointing for me this year. I thought they're a sure playoff team in the East. And right now they are battling with the Brooklyn Nets for the last play-in spot. So, yeah. Look at their numbers. Offensively, they look great. 3rd in points per game. 1st in field goal attempts. They get to the line well. 4th in free throws made. 5th in free throw attempts. 1st in offensive rebounds per game. 4th in pace. 5th in second chance points. Like, offensively, they don't look like a bad team. Then you look at the defensive side, and you're like, oh, wow. They're 28th in opponent fast break points. 28th in opponent points in the paint. 29th in opponent field goals made. 28th in opponent field goal percentage. 27th in opponent three-pointers made. 28th in opponent three-point percentage. 28th opponent assists. 29th opponent points per game. Defensively, they're not good at all. Offensively, they can manage, but defensively, they are not good. And they're another team that I'm really looking at for the trade deadline. There's been a lot of talk about basically everybody but Trae Young and Jalen Johnson are available. And I'm really interested to see. Of course, DeJounte Murray's a big name, but they have other guys. Bogdanovich is in 6th Man of the Year runnings right now. Sadiq Bey can be solid for playoff teams. Clint Capella potentially could get moved on from. They have a lot of, they're kind of like the Nets in a way, where they have a lot of players that, can contribute. And when they trade to playoff teams, they can really contribute. It's just altogether they have not worked out. Trae Young's having a good year, and should see if he makes the All-Star team or not. Averaging 27, 11 assists. Bogdanovich again has been great. Jalen Johnson, honestly, is one of the only reasons to watch the Hawks besides Trae Young is Jalen Johnson. He's in MIP conversations, averaging 15 and 8, 3 assists, a steal, shooting 54% from the field, 37% from 3. He's been just great. Great. Pretty proud of Jalen Johnson, what he's become. But, this Hawks team, again, just not it. And I'm looking forward to the trade deadline for them and who goes and who stays. At 21, we have the Golden State Warriors. They are 20-24, 12th in the Western Conference. They have the 11th offense, 22nd defense. They're 16th in net rating. They drop 2 spots from last power ranking. This Warriors team, another really disappointing team. They've just not been good at all this year. Look at the offense, and it looks okay. The threes, they're going to do that. 2nd in three-pointers made, 4th in three-point attempts. 3rd in offensive rebounds, 4th in rebounding per game, which is very interesting. Besides, they're really small, but they're a good rebounding team. But then everything else, they're just not great at. 29th in blocks, 30th in fast break points, 27th in points in the paint. Then defensively, they give up a lot of free throws as well. They're bottom 5 in opponent free throws made and free throw attempts. They just are not. You watch this team and you definitely tell this is not it. Like Steph Curry has been on a slump recently, but he's still kind of Steph Curry. After that, it's just been like Clay, he's been not having a good year. Andrew Wiggins just does not look the same. Draymond Green has come back and he's been solid, but he's got to be able to stay on the court, and stop hitting people. Jonathan Kuminga, though, last 5-6 games, he's been balling. He's averaging 20-something a game, shooting really well from the field. He had a game where he shot 11 for 11 from the field. So Jonathan Kuminga's starting to come on, which is really a sight to see. Brandon Podziemski's been one of the better rookies of the season. Trey Jackson-Davis, when he comes in, provides a lot of minutes. That's really the only thing to hold on to is you have Steph, and then the young guys are starting to ball. But after that, you don't really have anything else to hold on to. Again, Clay has not been good. Andrew Wiggins forgot how to play basketball. Draymond Green can't stop hitting people and stay on the court. Chris Paul hasn't played in a while. He's injured. It's just a lot of stuff. So they're another team looking at the trade deadline where it's like, well, how do they really feel about this team? Are they going to make a big move? Are they going to say, we have Steph Curry, we need to capitalize? Or are they going to just sit on it and be like, you know what, we'll just take this rest of the season and hope that and believe in our team? Really interested to see what happens there, what they do. Because, this team is not it, man. They did have a fun game against the Lakers where they lost that game. But, they have the potential to win every night, but it's just they have not been doing it. At 20, we have the Chicago Bulls. They are 23-26, 9th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 23rd offense, 14th defense, the 21st in net rating. They stay the same from last power ranking. The Bulls, they had their hot stretch, before Zach LaVine came back. Zach LaVine is back now. But now he's injured again, actually. I forgot he's out for a couple weeks now around the trade deadline, which sucks. Sucks for his trade value, I guess, even though apparently it was already down. But the Bulls are a competitive-ish team, looking at their offense still kind of looks weird because they had some stretches again where, It was just Kobe White in them. Then they had the stretch with just Lamar. Then the stretch with Zach LaVine. So their offense has kind of been up and down in terms of numbers. They're 26th in points per game, 20th in free throw attempts, 20th in assists per game, 30th in pace, 26th in true shooting percentage, 26th in effective field goal percentage. They are third in turnovers per game though, so they're not turning the ball over a whole lot. But defensively is where they're in. They're first in opponent points in the paint. They're locking the paint down. Fifth in opponent field goals made, second in opponent field goal attempts, ninth in opponent points per game. They do give up threes. They're 29th in opponent three-pointers made and three-point attempts. Teams shooting kind of average against them, but they are playing with fire, giving up a lot of threes. But yeah, the Bulls, they're just a very interesting team. Kobe White, honestly, if Tyrese Maxey didn't have his breakout this season, Kobe White would be MIP. He's averaging 19, 4, and 5, shooting 46% of the field, 39% from three. He just had a game last night against the Hornets where he had 35, 9, and 7 or something like that. He was balling. He's been phenomenal this season. Alex Caruso doing Alex Caruso type things. Patrick Williams is showing some things. He's injured now, but he's shown some things. I'd assume he's been really good the past few games. Andre Drummond, his value's going up. He might be a guy at the trade deadline that might get flipped. Julian Phillips, their second round pick. I saw him last night play against the Hornets and saw him a couple games, and he's been kind of balling a little bit. Still, now it looks like the Bulls probably aren't going to make any moves because, again, Zach LaVine's kind of trade value is kind of in the dumpster right now, apparently. DeMar DeRozan, we don't really know. He's, again, one of the hardest players to kind of trade. And the Bulls, now that they look okay, are probably just going to sit and see what this team can do for the rest of the year, which is not probably the best idea, but, it's the Bulls right now. They just don't know how to run the organization. I don't know what it is that makes you want to keep this team around. But that's what they want to do. At 19, we have the Houston Rockets. They are 22 and 25. They're 11th in the Western Conference. They have the 21st offense, the 7th defense, 13th in net rating. They drop one spot from last power ranking video. The Rockets are slowly starting to come back down to earth. Of course, start the year they were on fire. They were in the playoff race, one of the best teams in the league. And since as time goes on, they kind of been falling, until now they're out of the Western Conference playing right now. Not by much, by only a game, but still they're out there, outside looking in, which is tough with how the season started. But we just wanted the Rockets come into the season and just be competitive, just look like a basketball team, and the way they started, it was just wow. Honestly, no matter how they end the season, if they do make the play-in, if they just miss the play-in, it's a successful season no matter what because they look like they have a direction, they look like a competitive basketball team, and they have good things about them. Look at their numbers offensively. Really, it's just they don't shoot the ball super well. They're 25th in field goal percentage, 27th 3-point percentage, 27th in effective field goal percentage. So they're just not shooting the ball well. But everywhere else, they're a good rebounding team. 3rd in defensive rebounds, 5th in rebounds per game, 2nd in opponent points off turnovers, 1st in opponent fast break points. This is where the defense starts. They're 1st and 2nd opponent points off turnovers, 1st in opponent fast break points. So they're not giving up, not giving up points off turnovers, not giving up easy fast break points. 4th in opponent points in the paint, 4th in opponent field goal made, 5th in opponent field goal percentage, 3rd in opponent 3-point percentage, 2nd in opponent free throw percentage, 4th in opponent assists per game. So defensively, they're locked in. The only thing is free throws. They are a young team still. They're 20th in opponent free throws made and free throw attempts. But again, they're 2nd in opponent free throw percentage though. So they get up a lot of free throws, but teams aren't capitalizing and making free throws on them, I guess. And they're around the top 10 also in opponent points per game. So yeah, defensively they're really locked in, really good defensively. It's just really the offense, and just because they're young. Operation Shangoon again has been amazing. Will they make the All-Star team? Probably not. Actually, All-Star reserves get announced tonight. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Obviously, Operation Shangoon though having a great year, 21-9-5. He's been great. Jalen Green, as of recently, the last couple games he's been balling. He's had a couple 30 pieces last few games. He looks like he's getting a little more comfortable into the new system because he's one of those players where I don't really know what he is yet. Fred VanVleet, of course, has just been the great pickup, shooting 37% from 3, averaging 8 assists per game with only 1 turnover. Dylan Brooks is back, and he's shooting the ball well. Jabari Smith Jr. is injured, unfortunately, but he's been starting to figure out his role. Cam Whitmore, keep him in the rotation, please. Keep Cam Whitmore in the rotation. He's having a great rookie year. He's averaging 11 and 3, only playing in 24 games. He's averaging 11 points per game. He's been great, bringing some energy off the bench, some bucket getting that they need. He's been really good. He looks like the steal that he was. Men Thompson's slowly starting to get better. Jeff Green has been solid. Jason Tate has been solid. They're just a really solid team. That's what they are. Again, they're young, so they're going to lose some games, and their offense is not the greatest, but they're still in that playoff race, and they're competitive, which we love about the Houston Rockets. At 18, we have the Utah Jazz. They are 24 and 25. They're 10th in the Western Conference. They have the 16th offense, 24th defense, 24th in net rating. They jump 4 spots, one of the bigger jumps from last power ranking video. They jump 4 spots. Yeah, the Jazz have been great this month in January. All of a sudden, they just flipped the switch. They went from being one of the bottom teams that no one really thought about. They went on a hot stretch, and now they're in the play-in. And now they have the same record as another team we're going to talk about next, a contending team that, people thought were contenders. They had a great January. I made a video about them that really popped off, so thank you guys. But, yeah, they've all of a sudden become, like, a competitive team. Offensively, they don't do anything super outstanding beside, they rebound the ball well. They're second in rebounding per game, second in offensive rebounds per game. They're first and second chance points. They're fourth in points in the paint. They are 30th in turnovers per game. That's also because they kind of run point guard by committee, and their point guards are like Keontae George, Colin Sexton aren't really like point guards. They're 20th in points off turnovers as well. But defensively, they're okay. 20th in opponent points off turnovers, 30th in opponent fast break points because they give up a lot of turnovers. That means teams are scoring a lot off their turnovers and fast break points. They're 20th in opponent three-pointers made, 20th in opponent assists, 20th in opponent steals, 29th in opponent blocks. So defensively, they're not great. They are 5th in opponent defensive rebounds, so they're good at rebounding the ball, But besides that, not really super outstanding things from them. But, they've become a competitive team. They were shooting the ball lights out, in that stretch where they got better. They kind of slowly started to come back down to earth a little bit. They lost a couple games in a row, They're back to under 500. But still, it's really nice seeing them competitive. Larry Markkinen, again, proven. That last year was not a fluke. He's still really good, averaging 23 and 8 on good shooting. Jordan Clarkson has been really good. Colin Sexton, love what I'm saying with Colin Sexton. He's averaging 17 a game. Keontae George, their rookie, one of my favorite rookies. He's been pretty good. Simone Fontecchio. Walker Kessler is getting better. Kelly Olynyk's just a really good player. Chris Dunn is finding a role for himself. So it's really fun to see. Will Hardy, one of the better young coaches that not a lot of people talk about, but he has done an amazing job the last 2 years since he's taken over this Utah Jazz job. And now they look like they might make a play-in, which now changes a lot of things at the trade deadline for them because at first we were like, we thought they were just going to trade Larry Markkinen, Jordan Clarkson. A lot of those guys are going to be on the move. They're going to go young. But now that they're starting to win games, it's like, who knows? Maybe Jordan Clarkson stays around. Maybe these guys stay around. Maybe they make a move to buy. Who knows? So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, just really interesting, really fun to see the Utah Jazz kind of come out of nowhere and kind of be like a factor in this playoff race. At number 17, we have the Los Angeles Lakers. They are also 24 and 25. They're 9th in the Western Conference. They have the 20th offense, 15th defense, 20th in net rating. They stay the same from last power ranking video. We said this about the Lakers the entire year. They've been very disappointing. This team just is not it. They won the in-season tournament, and we thought they were going to go on a big run, and they got worse from after the in-season tournament. All their talks really have just been about the trade deadline and what's going to happen there. Looking at some of their numbers, threes, they don't do that. They're 20th in three-pointers made, 30th in three-point attempts, and their percentage is about average. So they're not shooting a lot of threes. Offensive rebounds and stuff, they don't do that. They're 30th in offensive rebounds per game, but they're 5th in defensive rebounds. So they're a really good defensive rebounding team. They're a horrible offensive rebounding team. They're 30th in second chance points as well because they don't get a lot of offensive rebounds. They're second in fast break points, third in points in the paint. So they have some decent things. It's just they cannot shoot threes and they cannot rebound and get second chance opportunities. Then defensively, one of the things in the past few years, as I talked about, a thing with the Lakers is like, even if their offense is not clicking, they can rely on their defense. It has not been like that this year. The defense is 15th, but, their defense has not been elite. They're, 20th in opponent second chance points, 27th in opponent points on turnovers. That's off because they don't really get a lot of second chance points. But also, they don't make a lot of threes, and they don't defend the three ball well. They're 30th in opponent three-pointers made, 28th in opponent three-point attempts. So you're one of the worst teams at hitting threes, and you're one of the worst teams at defending the three. That's literally a prime, recipe for losing, But they are disciplined. They're third in opponent free throws made, second in opponent free throw attempts. So they're not giving up free throws and easy ones, but they're giving up that three ball, and it's not been working. LeBron, at 39 years old, year 21, has still been good. Anthony Davis is having an amazing season. 25, 12, 3, a steal, 2 blocks. Can't really say much about those two. It's after that. D'Angelo Russell has been hot the past couple games. How long is he going to be a Laker? We don't really know yet. Got to wait and see. He might be in Brooklyn or Atlanta. Who knows? Austin Reeves has been kind of disappointing this year. And then after that, the rotations have just been kind of Hachimura is injured now. Torian Prince has kind of fallen. Christian Wood is okay, I guess. Injuries are starting to hit. Cam Reddish is injured now. We still don't know what's wrong with Gabe Vincent. It's just like not here anymore. Jerry Vanderbilt's back, and he's been okay. But yeah, Darvin Ham on the hot seat right now. And yeah, Laker fans do not like the man with the hands in his pockets. Yeah, just a lot of stuff going on with the Lakers. There's always a lot of stuff going on with the Lakers. But yeah, now all eyes are kind of on Rob Pelinka and Jeanie Buss and them, and like, okay, your guys' move. You know, whether it's a firing of a coach, whether it's a big trade for DeJounte Murray or something, they got to do something because this team right now does not look anything like what we thought it was going to be. At 16, we have the Orlando Magic. They are 25-23. They're 8th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 24th offense, 5th defense, and 14th in net rating. They have the biggest drop. They dropped 8 spots from last power ranking from 8 to 16. Yeah, they've just been dropping because they've had a lot of injuries. You know, Franz Wagner missed a lot of time. Jalen Suggs missed a little bit. Like, they had a lot of injuries, and they kind of came back down to earth. You know, they had such a great start to the season that they slowly have started to come back down to earth. They won a little losing streak here and there, you know, which sucks, but they're still a pretty good team, especially on the offensive end. I mean, on the defensive end. Offensively, they still have problems, and honestly, I think they probably are going to have to make a trade to get some offense, because right now their offense just does not look good. They're 25th in points per game, 27th in field goals made, 28th in field goal attempt, or 27th in field goal attempts, 30th in three-pointers made, 27 three-point attempts, 30th three-point percentage. So they're literally like the worst three-point shooting team in the league. They don't make threes, they don't take threes, and they can't. Yeah, they don't shoot well from three. 27th in assists per game, you know. But free throws they're good at. That's one thing on offense. They're 5th in free throws made, 3rd in free throw attempts. So yeah. But defensively, that's really where they've been winning games, and they're one of the best defensive teams in the league. They're 2nd in steals per game. They're 2nd in points off turnovers, 4th in second chance points, 3rd in opponent second chance points. So they get a lot of second chance points, and they'll give up a lot of second chance points. They're 1st in opponent field goal attempts, 4th in opponent three-point attempts, 2nd in opponent offensive rebounds, 4th in opponent rebounds, 1st in opponent assists, 2nd in opponent turnovers, and 5th in opponent points per game. So they're amazing defensively. Defensively, they got it. Offensively, though, it has not been the same. That's how they've been losing a lot of games. Paulo has really taken a step up in January. He should make the All-Star team. I hope he does. He's averaging 23, 7, and 5, shooting pretty well from the field. Franz Wagner's back now. He had a really good game last night. Their bench has been something I've been a fan of as well. Cole Anthony, Mo Wagner, you know, off the bench have been pretty good. Jalen Suggs, again, finding his role, being a good three-point shooter and defender has been nice to see. They got Wendell Carter and Markelle Fultz back. How long they'll be in Orlando, I don't know. They could potentially be on the trade market. Jonathan Isaac is back. Anthony Black had a good game the other day. You know, so they have some things, obviously. I really like this Orlando Magic team. I've been saying it since last season. You know, this Magic team is pretty good. I like it, you know, but I think they probably are going to need to make a trade. Terry Rozier's off the market. Terry Rozier would have been a great guy for them, but they just need some offense, man. Like, offensively, they just, especially in the half court, is really just kind of let Paolo work and let Paolo get to the free throw line and let him go to the rim, or Franz Wagner go one-on-one. After that, it's just kind of like we don't really know what to do. So they just need a Jordan Clarkson or that type of guy that just come off the bench and just give them, just can be a constant 15, 20 points that they need, you know? At 15, the most average team, apparently, the Miami Heat, they're also 25-23. They're 7th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 22nd offense, 13th defense, or 18th in net rating. They dropped 6 spots from last power ranking, from top 10 down to 15. They went on a 7-game losing streak. They broke that losing streak last night. They beat the Kings. But yeah, this does not look like the same Miami team we saw to start the season. You know, looking at their offense, the offense just looks terrible. Offense looks terrible. I made a video about it the other day. Talk about what's going on with Miami. So if you want more in-depth, you can go check that out. But yeah, looking at the entirety of the season, their numbers offensively just does not look good. They're 27th in points per game, 29th in field goals made, 29th in field goal attempts, 26th in field goal percentage, 25th in rebounds, 29th in pace, you know, 29th in fast break points, 28th in points in the paint, 27th in second chance points, 30th in blocks. Like, the only good thing about their offense is their 3rd in free throw percentage. That's really the only thing they excel at. After that, it's just been kind of like average to really below average. You know, their offense just looks very, very bad right now. It looks very kind of stagnant. Watching the couple games that they've been playing, because they played 3 games in a row on national TV and lost all 3 of them on blowouts. You know, it just looks like, yeah, their offense is kind of stagnant. There's not really much going on. They're really locking in on Bam, who's been having a good year. And when Bam's not really doing much, it looks like this team just doesn't really know what to do. And defensively, they had their good things. Their third opponent field goal attempts. They don't foul a lot. They're fourth in opponent free throws made, fifth in opponent free throw attempts, third in opponent offensive rebounds, seventh in opponent points per game. They're defensively, they've still been good because it's Miami Heat. They're always going to be a good defensive team. But just offensive, well, you can't score, and offensively, it's just like you can only stop people for so long before, before their offense runs out. And yeah, Jimmy Butler, he's had 30-point games or 20-point games in a row, which is good for them. But I said it in my other video, he needs to kind of playoff Jimmy needs to come out a little bit early for this team. Tyler Hero has not been great the past couple games. Bam has been getting locked up a little bit. The role players have kind of been very up and down this season. Even though the entirety of the year they still have some good. I mean, Jaime Jaquez is still one of the better rookies. He just came back from injury. Duncan Robinson's had a really improved season. Caleb Martin is starting to come alive. Josh Richardson had a really good game last night. Kevin Love had a good game last night. Hewitt Highsmith has become a rotational player. Terry Rozier has not shot the ball super well. Is so far in 5 games for Miami. But he had 10 assists last night. He's been, kind of trying to find his role and where he fits in this Miami team. Once he does, he's going to be big for them. But yeah, I mean, Miami's still going to be a tough team. They're still going to be a good team. It's just their offense just has been really struggling, and they really have to pick it up. Have to find some things. And last night they beat a really good Kings team, so maybe that, gives them some confidence going forward. At 14, we have the Dallas Mavericks. They are 26-22. They're 8th in the Western Conference. They have the 10th offense, 23rd defense. They're 17th in net rating. They dropped 1 spot from last power ranking video. The Mavericks have been pretty solid all year. They had a really good start to the year. They kind of slowly have been falling because injuries have really been taking place. Kyrie and Luka really have been out, for a little while. Whether it's one of them or one of them's out, and one of them's on, one of them's on, one of them's out. It's been like that. Looking at their numbers offensively, threes. They're third in 3-pointers made, second in 3-point attempts. So they shoot a lot of threes. They're second in turnovers per game as well. So they're not turning the ball over, and they're hitting a lot of threes. They're 27th in rebounds, 27th in steals. And defensively, they're still kind of 27th in opponent fast break points. They don't rebound the ball super well either. So, yeah, that's something they have to really clean up. But, yeah, Luka Doncic. That's really why they're so far up here. He's amazing. He's averaging 34, 8, and 9 with a steal, shooting 49% from the field, 37% from 3. He had a 73, 10, and 7 game last week. So, yeah, Luka Doncic is really good. Kyrie Irving, when he does play, Kyrie Irving's missed a lot of games. The Mavericks have played in 48 games now, and Kyrie has only played in 27 of them. So he's missed almost 20 games this season. He's averaging 25, 5, and 5 when he does play, and right before he got hurt, he was having some big stretches. He had like a 40-point game. He was having some really good stretches without Luka, but now he's injured again. So yeah, Tim Hardaway Jr. is probably the 6th man of the year right now. He's averaging 18 points per game. He's been great. Derrick Jones Jr. all of a sudden now is a really good 3-point shooter. Derek Lively has been a really good rookie so far this year as well. Josh Green is starting to come alive. Dante Exum has been really good all year. Jane Hardy is starting to get more in the rotation and getting better. So they have some good things. Grant Williams has been solid. They have some good things. I'm very interested to see what they do at the trade deadline. Because I feel like their team definitely still needs to move. Maybe they can go in and get Kyle Kuzma, or something like that. Because I definitely do think this team still needs, this team is not perfect. They still need another move or two to make to really get a whole lot better. But yeah, Luka Doncic is really good. And this Mavs team has been, better than I expected. So I'm interested to see what the trade deadline provides for them and how they finish out the season. At 13, we have the New Orleans Pelicans. They are 27-21. They're 7th in the Western Conference. They have the 13th offense, 9th defense. They're 9th in net rating. They dropped 2 spots from last power ranking video. Looking at the Pelicans, they're honestly one of the more interesting, confusing-ish kind of teams to me. Because, I don't know, it feels like I still don't really know how to gauge what the Pelicans really are. You look at all their numbers and stats, they're average in everywhere. They don't really excel at one thing on either end, offensively or defensively. It's not like they're top 5 in this, they're top 5 in this. They're just they're in the 8 to 14 range in everything. So everywhere, they're kind of just okay, they're good. They're not great, but they're not bad. They're just kind of good. The only thing that really stands out is a defense. They give up a lot of threes. They're 30th in opponent 3-point attempts, but they're 4th in opponent 3-point percentage. So they're giving up a lot of threes. They're playing with fire. They're giving up a lot of threes, but teams are not making a lot of threes on them. So if you can have a hot shooting night, you could probably beat the Pelicans. That's really the only thing we know about this team. But yeah, they've just been very interesting. They go on streaks. Like they will go on a 4-5 game stretch where they play really good teams and they knock them out. But then they also go on stretches where they lose to the Grizzlies. They lose to, the Mavs. They lose to, they lose some games. So I don't know. They won a 3-game losing streak recently when they lost to OKC, they lost to Milwaukee, lost to Boston, but then they beat Houston. So they beat the teams they're supposed to beat. But against the top teams, they kind of are like struggling a little bit. But then they also could beat. Like they won an early season streak where they did beat a lot of the top teams. So I don't know. Like they're the most confusing team to me because I still don't really know where to rank them in terms of Western Conference like contention and stuff. Like they're not on the level of OKC, Minnesota, Denver. Like they're not on that level. But also, I feel like they're better than the Mavericks. They're the Kings. Like maybe I don't know where they really stand in terms of the West, who they're better than and who they're not better than. They're just kind of like I don't really know. I still have to keep watching and stuff. But yeah, Zion's been good when he has played. He's missed a couple games, but he's been good. Bi has been solid. CJ McCollum has really been hot. He's shooting 43% from three. JV has been good. Trey Murphy's back. He's been solid. Herb Jones, elite role player. Jordan Hawkins, please keep him in the rotation because he's a sharpshooter. They're deep too. I mean, Najee Marshall, Jose Alvarado, Larry Nance Jr., Dyson Daniels. Like, they have so many players, So, yeah, this Pelicans team, again, is still one of the teams I'm still kind of trying to figure out what they really are and what I think about them. But, I mean, they're still a really good team at the end of the day. At 12, we have the Indiana Pacers. They are 27-21. They sit at 6th in the Eastern Conference. They have the best offense still, number 1 offense, 26 defense, 12th in net rating. They stay the same in last power ranking video. They made the big move to get Pascal Siakam, and so far they lost the first couple games, but now they're winning games. I think they're 2-4 right now with Pascal Siakam. They lost to the Celtics the other day in a very close game. Tyrese Haliburton has missed a lot of time. He's back now. He played last game against Boston. He was really good in limited minutes. But yeah, looking at the numbers, I mean, they're still offensively, they're still amazing. I mean, first in points per game, first in field goals made, second in field goal attempts, first in field goal percentage, fifth in 3-point percentage, first in assists, second in pace, third in true shooting percentage, first in effective field goal percentage, third in points off turnovers, fourth in fast break points, first in points to the paint. I mean, offensively, they got it. We all know that. It's really the defense. Rebounding, they're not good. 20th in defensive rebounds, 20th in total rebounds per game. 27th in opponent second chance points, 30th in opponent points in the paint, which is very interesting. So they score a lot in the paint and they give up a lot in the paint. 20th in opponent field goals made, 30th in opponent field goal percentage. The good thing about their defense though is that they do not give up the 3-ball. They're first in opponent 3-pointers made and 3-pointers attempted. So they're giving up points in the paint. They're letting people walk past them, but you're not getting the threes up. They're 30th in opponent free throws made, 30th in opponent free throw attempts. So they're not disciplined. They foul a lot. They give up a lot of free throws. 20th in opponent points per game. So yeah, defensively they're still bad. They have gotten a little better since Pascal Siakam has gotten there. And so far, Pascal in 7 games, averaging 21, 7, and 5, shooting well from the field. He's kind of fit in. Tyrese, of course, all-star starter. He's been great, averaging 23 and 12.5 assists per game. Miles Turner's been good. Bennedict Mathurin has provided some energy off the bench. They just have so many guys. Aaron Nesmith, I love what Aaron Nesmith has become with this team. He's really found a role for himself. Buddy Hield is still doing well. Obi Toppin has his moments. Jalen Smith has his moments. Adrian Nembhard, TJ McConnell, Isaiah Jackson. Even Ben Shepherd's playing now. Like, they just have so many guys, man. Off the bench, they're amazing. The best bench in the league, according to numbers. Like, this team is just really, really, really good. Offensively, at least. Defensively, they have to lock in. But I love that they got Pascal Siakam. Gives them another dynamic in the half-court offense. And, yeah, as long as we just hope that Tyrese is healthy. And with Tyrese and Pascal out there, they're going to be a really good team. At number 11, we have the Sacramento Kings. They are 27-19. Right now, they are 5th in the Western Conference. They have the 14th offense, 17th defense. They're 15th in net rating. They dropped 1 spot from last power ranking video. The Kings, they're kind of another team I was kind of really confused with early in the season because, they had a lot of injuries. They're kind of up and down. But recently, they've been starting to put it together. They're on a little winning streak until last night. They lost to Miami. They're sitting at top 5 in the West right now. Offensively, they're still good. They're 5th in field goals made, 5th in field goal attempts, 4th in 3-pointers made, 3rd in 3-point attempts, 5th in assists per game. They are not a good free throw shooting team though. They're 27th in free throws made and 30th in free throw percentage. Even though attempts they're kind of like average, so they're not capitalizing on easy opportunities. And defensively, they still have their problems here and there. They're still not a great defensive team, but they do the little things defensively. They're 1st in opponent second chance points, 3rd in opponent field fast break points, 1st in opponent offensive rebounds. So they're not giving you easy ones, which is a good thing. They are 29th in opponent 3-point percentage, though, so teams are hitting threes on them, which is the one thing about their defense. But yeah, they've been putting it together recently. De'Aaron Fox has some injuries, and he's been kind of slowing down. He had a really hot start. He's been kind of slowing down. He's not shooting the ball as efficiently. He's still averaging 27 a game and shooting 38% from three. But Domantas Sabonis, man, Domantas Sabonis has been killing the game, averaging 20, 13, and 8. 20, 13, and 8. Man, wow. 61% shooting from the field as well. He's also shooting 45% from three, even though he's only taking one a game, but he's still shooting 45% on them. Keegan Murray, he had a really bad start, but he's been starting to light it up as well. He's averaging 16 a game, shooting 37% from three. Malik Monk continues to be one of the better six-man. Harrison Barnes won a stretch where he had like back-to-back 30-point games and no turnovers randomly. Kevin Huerter had a rough start, but he's starting to pick it up a little bit as well. Still, I don't know if I said in the last Power Ranking video, but I feel like the Kings should make a trade. I definitely feel like they still need some more, maybe off that bench, maybe another forward or wing that can, help them. Of course, a guy like Jeremy Grant, Kyle Kuzma would be like perfect, but maybe not even that big of a move. The way Sabonis and Keegan Murray and them have been playing, maybe just another solid backup wing, that could play, because their bench has not been as great as it was last year. But yeah, the Kings are starting to put together. Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox been playing well. As long as those two are playing well and Keegan Murray is shooting like that, they're gonna have a chance to win any game. Now we enter the top 10. At number 10, we have the Phoenix Suns. They're 28-20. They sit at 6th in the Western Conference. They have the 8th best offense, 16th defense, or 11th in net rating. They jumped 5 spots from last Power Ranking video, from 15 to 10. The Suns, they won a 7-game win streak. They lost that win streak, but then they won back-to-back games. They've been starting to put it together. They've been healthy. Bradley Beal is healthy now. They're starting to play together, which is crazy because now those three have played together more than the Brooklyn Big Three of KD, Kyrie, and Harden, which is crazy to think about. Just a little factoid stat right there that I saw. But yeah, the Suns, they've been playing a lot better recently. Look at their offense. They're 20th in field goal attempts. They don't really shoot the ball they don't shoot a lot of shots and stuff. But when they do, they're efficient. They're 20th in field goal attempts, but they're 4th in field goal percentage. Same at threes. They don't shoot a lot of threes. They're like 24th, I want to say, in three-point attempts, but they're top 10 in three-point percentage. So they're not getting a lot of shots, but when they do shoot, they're making them. They do, though, get to the free throw line. They're 3rd in free throws made, 4th in free throw attempts, 5th in free throw percentage, and they're 4th in true shooting percentage. So they're shooting the ball really well. Defensively, they're 5th in opponent fast break points, 1st in opponent defensive rebounds, 2nd in opponent rebounds per game. So they're not giving up easy second chances as well. And defensively, they're about average. Every stat, they're kind of about average-ish, which is really good, especially for this team. With the offense you do have of KD, Book, and Bradley Beal, who all can go for 30 or even more any night. Especially the way D-Book's been playing recently. But as long as their defense is average and they get stops when they need to in the fourth quarter and stuff, they're good. And speaking of the fourth quarter, they have been one of the worst fourth quarter teams in the league, not even in the league of all time, which is insane to think about. So they need to clean that up. But as long as they can, they're good. Kevin Durant having a great season, all-star starter, averaging 28, 6, and 6, a block, shooting well. Devin Booker has been on fire recently. He's averaging 28, 5, and 7, shooting 50% from the field, 38% from three. Interesting to see if he makes the all-star team. Bradley Beal had a rough start, then got hurt, but since he's come back, he's been pretty good. Grayson Allen is leading the league, shooting 49% from three. Eric Gordon has his moments. Yusuf Nurkic has his moments. Drew Eubanks has his moments as well. The bench and depth is still, questionable. There's still some things that, we kind of need to, clean up here and there. Still a lot of guys I don't really know how much I trust. But as long as with KD, Book, Bradley Beal been playing well, adding Grayson Allen shooting the ball well, they're going to be a really, really good team, and a dangerous one as well. Interesting to see where they end this season. At number 9, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 29-16. They're 4th in the Eastern Conference. They are tied for the biggest jump in the power ranking. They're 15th offense, the 3rd best defense, 7th in net rating. Again, they are tied for the biggest jump in this power ranking video. They jumped 7 spots from 16 to 9. They have been balling recently. And one of their best players went out. When Garland and Mobley went out, everyone thought the season's over. The collapse is happening. And they got better randomly. Shout out to the role players and Donovan Mitchell. Look at their numbers. Offensively, they don't really stick out too much. Besides free throws, they don't shoot a lot of free throws. But defensively is where they leave their mark. They're a top 5 defense. They're 5th in opponent points in the paint, which is crazy. Even though Evan Mobley's not playing, they're still locking up the paint. Shout out to Jared Allen. They're 2nd in opponent field goal made, 5th in opponent field goal attempts, 4th in opponent field goal percentage, 2nd in opponent assists per game, and 3rd in opponent points per game. So they're locking down on the defensive end. And that's a huge shout out to Donovan Mitchell, who's been leading this team. He's averaging 28, averaging career high in rebounds and assists, with steals, averaging almost 2 steals per game as well, shooting well. Karis LeVert has been really good as a sixth man this year. Jared Allen has just been phenomenal. I think Jared Allen's had, 16 straight games with a double-double. He's averaging 15 and 10. He's playing really well. Max Strus has been really inconsistent shooting-wise, but he's been doing the other things. Jordan Yang off the bench has been good. Isaiah Okoro, gonna give shots at him. He's been locking up in the defensive end, and offensively he's starting to find it together. Sam Merrill, all of a sudden, is one of the best three-point shooters ever, shooting 43% from three. Dean Wade has been putting it together, shooting the ball super well. They've just been great. And now Evan Mobley and Darius Garland are back. They played last night. They struggled with the Pistons. They did struggle with the Pistons, but they eventually got the win because Donovan Mitchell went to superhero mode. So, yeah, this is going to be a big stretch for the Cavs now. Full team healthy for the first time in like a month and a half-ish. So now we really get to see what this real Cavaliers team is. They're really good with Donovan and just the bench guys. So now if Darius and Mobley come back and they get worse, there's going to be some questions. But I'm going to be really interested to see what happens, with that. At 8, we have the Philadelphia 76ers. They're 29-17. They're 5th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 5th offense, 8th defense, 3rd in net rating. They dropped 4 spots in the last power ranking video. They've been losing, and that's really just been because of injuries. Joel Embiid has been in and out of the lineup, obviously. There's been a lot of talk about him and the knee problems, and with the 65-game eligibility rule, he kind of looked like he forced himself to play the other night against the Warriors, where he had a really bad game. It might have re-injured his knee for more than what it actually was, and there's been a lot of talk about that. I made a video about that yesterday, and go back and check that out. But he's been the MVP so far this year. He's having an insane season, averaging 35, 11, and 6 with a steal and almost 2 blocks per game. He's been really, really good, and it would suck for him to have to force himself to play just because of an MVP, because of the new rule and stuff. But yeah, the Sixers have been one of the better teams throughout the entirety of the year. Again, they have been losing. They're currently on a 4-game losing streak, and that's because mainly injuries. Not just Joel, but Tyrese has also missed a game here and there. Tobias missed a couple games, and honestly, it's really showing that they might need to make another move for another big guy. Another maybe not all-star, but another really good player, because it definitely kind of been showing if Joel and Maxey aren't going, they're not after that. It's just kind of it's really just the Joel and Maxey show. I mean, of course they have Tobias that can go off for some nights. Anthony Melton can provide some things. Their bench guys like Paul Reed, Pat Bev, Kelly Oubre, Nick Batum can provide some things, but not consistent enough where it's maybe if there's another move out there, the Sixers probably should make it. And that's gonna be a thing. I'm interested to see it at the deadline what they do. But yeah, I mean, they're still a good team. Really, it's just about getting healthy. When they're healthy, they're a team that you definitely have to. They're one of the top teams in the East when they're healthy. That's really what it is. At number 7, we have the New York Knicks. They are 31-17. They're 3rd in the Eastern Conference. They have the 7th best offense, 6th best defense, 4th in net rating. They are tied with the Cavs for the biggest jump. They jumped 7 spots. They're currently on an 8-game winning streak, and they're only 1 game out of the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. The month of January for them was absolutely insane. They traded for OG Anunoby right before January, and they balling. They won 13 games. They went 13-4. Oh no, 13-2 in January. Just absolutely balled out. Look at some of their numbers right now. Offensively, their numbers don't look crazy. Also, that's not because of January, but for the first couple of months, they kind of were up and down-ish. They are a good rebounding team, though. They're 4th in offensive rebounds, 3rd in rebounds per game, 2nd in second chance points as well. They're 29th in assists still. They're 27th in pace, so they're not a very fast, move the ball around type of team. But defensively, they make their mark. They're 2nd in opponent second chance points, 2nd in opponent free throws made, 3rd in opponent free throw attempts, 3rd in opponent defensive rebounds, 3rd in opponent rebounds, and 2nd in opponent points per game. Defensively, they are locked in, and they're just playing a phenomenal basketball right now. Jalen Brunson, it's a crime that he did not make the All-Star starters. He's averaging just under 27 points per game, 6.5 assists, shooting 48% from the field, 42% from the 3-man. He's a star. Julius Randle having a really good year as well, 24-9-5 after a horrible start. He is going to be out for a little while with an shoulder injury, so we're going to really see how this next team looks. But so far, they won their first 2 games. It was against the Hornets and Jazz, but they won their first 2 games without Julius Randle. OG has fit in and have been amazing, averaging 15-4, almost 2 steals and a block, shooting 39% from 3. He's been everything and more that the Knicks could have asked for. Dante DiVincenzo continues to be a great pickup for the Knicks, shooting 42% from three. Josh Hart finding his thing. Quentin Grimes has not been great this year, but as of recently he's starting to pick it up. Isaiah Hartenstein stepping in for the injured Mitchell Robinson. He's been really good. Miles McBride, since they traded IQ, they kind of gave him the keys to the backup point guard position and gave him a new contract extension. And he's shooting 46% from three as well. They've been really, really good. They've been balling. They've been locking in defensively, and on offense, Jalen Brunson in the three-point shot. That's really what it's been. Very interested to see what the Knicks do the rest of the season, how they look now without Julius Randle, for a little while. We don't know specifically how long, but he's not going to be around for a little while. So we're going to see how this team really looks, especially against the top teams, and want to see where they kind of line up in terms of, like, contention, honestly. I've been thinking about that, like, where do the Knicks stand in my terms of the Eastern Conference? Like, where they stand among the contenders and stuff like that. And they're going to be a tough team, man. They're going to be a really tough team because they bring it on both ends. Number 6, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. They are 32-16. They're second in the Eastern Conference. They have the third best offense, 19th defense. They're 10th in net rating. They dropped one spot from last power ranking video. The Bucks. A lot has been happening with the Bucks recently. A lot of talk about them. They fired Adrian Griffin, hired Doc Rivers, and they've lost the first 2 games with Doc Rivers. To Denver and then last night to Portland, and not a great loss. And then they're also on the road for the next 3 games against Dallas, Utah, and Phoenix. So that's going to be a really, really tough stretch for them, especially trying to integrate a new coach and new system and stuff in. So, a lot going on around Milwaukee right now. But looking at their numbers, offensively, they're great offensively. Look at numbers-wise. Second in points per game, second in field goals made, third in field goal percentage, fifth in three-pointers made, second in free throws made, second in free throw attempts, third in pace, first in true shooting percentage, second in effective field goal percentage, second in defensive rebounds per game. Offensively, they're good. They got it. Defensively, not that much. They're 20th in points off turnovers, 30th in opponent turnovers per game, so they're not forcing any turnovers. They're also 30th in opponent field goal attempts, and everywhere else on defense, they're kind of like average to below average. So, defensively, still a lot, to work on. Offensively, they're good. Giannis having an MVP-type season, averaging 31, 11, and 6, a steal and a block. Dame is slowly starting to integrate himself a little bit more. Chris Middleton is slowly starting to get better as well. Bobby Portis has been really good off the bench. Malik Beasley is on fire from 3. He cannot guard a thing, though. But, defensively, Malik Beasley can't guard anything, man. There's still a lot of work in progress. Still a lot, to work on, especially now with a new coach and Doc Rivers, integrating him halfway through the season, for a championship contending team. That's, very, that's very tough. That's very tough to do. It's going to be really hard to do throughout the rest of the year. And, really just keeping eyes on Milwaukee and seeing what looks different with Doc Rivers in there now. We are now in the top 5. At number 5, we have the Denver Nuggets, the reigning champs, at 33-16. They're 4th in the Western Conference. They have the 9th offense, 12th in defense, 8th in net rating, +1 from last power ranking video. Lost last night to OKC, but that's because Jokic missed a game, which he doesn't really do that often. But the Nuggets are starting to put it together. They've dealt with injuries all year, yet they're still been a top 5 in the West. And it doesn't even feel like they're really trying to be top 5 in the West, but they just are because they're a really good team. Jamal Murray is starting to catch up, starting to be on fire. Well, let's look at the numbers first. The numbers-wise, offensively, they're 4th in field goals made, 5th in field goal percentage. Weirdly, though, offensive numbers don't look crazy. Three-pointers, they're 26th in three-pointers made, 20th in three-point attempts. Free throws, 29th in free throws made, 27th free throw attempts, 20th in free throw percentage. So they're not a good free throw shooting team. They're not shooting a lot of threes, but they're just efficiently scoring. They're 4th in assists, 4th in turnovers, doing that stuff. They're 20th in pace, they're 27th in points off turnovers. So offensively, they don't look crazy. They're just doing the good things. Assist, not turning the ball over, and getting easy ones, But defensively, too, they've been really good. When you think of the Nuggets, you don't really think of them as a great defensive team. You don't think they're horrible at all, obviously. But you don't think of them as like amazing, really good defensive team, but they have been. They're 4th in opponent second chance points, 3rd in opponent three-pointers made, 3rd in opponent three-point attempts. They're not giving up threes, They're 27th in opponent turnovers. They're not forcing the turnovers, but they're 4th in opponent points per game. They're top 5 in giving up points, So defensively, they've been really, really good. They're just outside the top 10 defensively, Nikola Jokic having another MVP type of season. Cool 26, 12, and 9 with a steal and almost a block per game. Shooting 58%, Cool Nikola Jokic numbers. Jamal Murray, again, he had a lot of injury problems to start the season, but recently he's been starting to put it together. He's averaging 21 points, shooting 47% from the field and 41% from three. MPJ shooting just under 40% from three. Aaron Gordon doing his thing. Reggie Jackson has been good off the bench. KCP, again, the only thing really about them is their young bench. They've been very inconsistent, up and down, and that's going to be a thing they're going to have to deal with the rest of the season. But as long as they have that starting five out there, they're going to have the chance to beat anybody in the league because that starting five is just as good as it gets. Number 4, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are 33-15. They are second in the Western Conference. They have the 6th best offense, 4th best defense. They're second in net rating. They dropped one spot from last power ranking video. Thunder, they lost a couple games. They lost to Minnesota, lost to Detroit. So tough, but the Thunder are still one of the best teams in the league. Look at their numbers, offensively and defensively. They just look amazing. Offensively, they're 4th in points per game, 3rd in field goals made, 2nd in field goal percentage, 3rd in three-point percentage, 2nd in free throw percentage, 5th in turnovers per game, 2nd in true shooting percentage, 3rd in effective field goal percentage, 1st in points off turnovers, 5th in points in the paint. No, they just do that. The only thing they're bad at is rebounding. They're 20th in offensive rebounds, 26th in rebounds per game, 29th in second chance points because of their rebounding. They're also 29th in opponent second chance points, 29th in opponent offensive rebounds. So rebounding, they're not good. They're not a really big team besides Chet Holmgren. But after that, offensively, they're efficient. They shoot the ball well. They don't turn the ball over. And defensively, they're great as well. They're 3rd in steals, 1st in blocks, 1st in points off turnovers, 5th in opponent points off turnovers, 2nd in opponent fast break points, 2nd in opponent points in the paint, 3rd in opponent field goals made, 1st in opponent field goal percentage, 1st in opponent turnovers per game. So defensively, they're really good. Offensively, they're really good. They're a really good team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the MVP conversation, 31-5-6 with 2 steals, shooting 54% for the field. J-Dub, been great, shooting almost 50, 40, 90, while averaging almost 19 points per game. He is injured right now, though, so we're going to see how long that takes. Chet Holmgren, one of the best rookies, of course, in the Rookie of the Year conversation, as always. Lou Dort has been good. Isaiah Joe, Casey Wallace. Aaron Wiggins is shooting 60% from the field. Kendrick Williams is back and playing good. The other Jalen Williams, they're just really, really good, man. Like, what else do you really say? The OKC Thunder are just one of the best teams in the league. This is what they are and what they always have been the entirety of the season. Number 3, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are 34-14. They are 1st in the Western Conference. They have the 19th offense, the best defense, 6th in net rating. They dropped one spot from last power ranking video. They dropped from 2 to 3. They've been, defensively, they're great. They are great defensively. Rudy Gobert is probably going to win, Defensive Player of the Year. Defensively, they could do all that, Looking at their opponent numbers, they're 5th in opponent second chance points, 4th in opponent fast break points, 3rd in opponent points in the paint, 1st in opponent field goals made, 2nd in opponent field goal percentage, 5th in opponent three-pointers made, 5th in opponent offensive rebounds, 2nd in opponent defensive rebounds, 1st in opponent rebounds per game, 3rd in opponent assists per game, and 1st in opponent points per game. Defensively, amazing. Can't really say much more. Offensively, though, they've had struggles, which is why they're not as amazing as a team maybe as we think. They're going to win games just because they're defense, and they have capable offensive players. But offensively, they kind of been struggling, especially in the fourth quarter. The last couple games, they've really been struggling in the fourth quarter, and they've lost a couple games that they probably should have won. Look at their offensive numbers. They're 25th in field goals made, 30th field goal attempts, so they're not really getting a lot of shots. They are 2nd in three-point percentage, though. But they're 20th in turnovers, 27th in fast break points, 20th in offensive rebounds. Like, some of their offensive numbers are not as great as you would think a number 1 team in the West and one of the top teams in the league would be, And maybe that's a move they have to make. I don't know. Anthony Edwards has, of course, been good. 25, 5, and 5. Carl Towns has been good, shooting almost 50, 40, 90 on 22 points per game. Rudy Gobert's averaging 13, 12, and 2 blocks. Naz Reid has been great off the bench, averaging 12 points, shooting 41% from 3. Jay McDaniels has come back, shooting 37% from 3. Mike Conley. And they did miss a couple games with Mike Conley, which is a big thing, too. He kind of settles everyone down, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I love how he's bought into his role. Con Anderson's been really good off the bench, So, they have good things, obviously. It's just really the only concern about them is their offense sometimes just looks kind of stagnant a little bit, just like, all right, can't do something or can't do something, go one-on-one sometimes, It's not as fluid and as great as you would think a number 1 seed in the West would be. But, as long as their defense is elite as it is, they're always going to be able to win games. Now, number 2, we have the Los Angeles Clippers. They're 31-15. They're 3rd in the Western Conference. They have the 4th best offense, 11th defense, 5th in net rating. They jump 5 spots from last power ranking video from 7 to 2. They've been amazing. Ever since the start, I think they've lost 5 games since December. They have been on an absolutely another level. They've just been dominating, walking through teams. you know. Yeah, look at their numbers. The numbers don't even look that crazy, though. Looking at all their numbers, they don't really excel at so much besides their first in three-point percentage, their fourth in steals, fifth in true shooting percentage, fourth in effective field goal percentage, and they're good at not giving up rebounds. Besides that, they don't really excel, but they're just really good at everything, you know. Like, they've been balling. They really put this team together. The chemistry is going crazy. Kawhi Leonard averaging 24, 6, and 3. He had a really good game. He had 31 last night in 3 quarters. Paul George has been great, 23, 5, and 3. James Harden, 17 and 8 assists, shooting 41% from 3. Norman Powell shooting 45% from 3. Russell Westbrook has come off the bench, and he's been really good. Terrence Mann is shooting the ball well. Daniel Tice has been good. Mason Plumlee's back, and he's playing. Amir Coffey's now in the rotation. Like, everything's just been good for the Clippers. Everything's been coming together well. You know, they've been running through teams, you know, blowing teams out. Like, looking at their record since the start of December, they've lost 5 games. Since the start of December, in the last 2 months, they have lost 5 games. Think about that. That is crazy. In 2 months, they lost 5 games. And in those 5 games, they lost to OKC, Boston, the Lakers, Minnesota, Cleveland. 4 of those teams are really like Boston, OKC, Cleveland, Minnesota. Those are some of the best teams in the league, and then the Lakers lost. But besides that, they've been beating everybody. They've just been running through teams, you know? So, yeah, they have been amazing. All the players have been amazing. And, yeah, they're definitely going to be a tough force. They honestly might be my new favorite in the West. I don't know. I mean, the Nuggets are still really good, OKC, but the Clippers, man, they're different. They're different. Yeah, number 1, to nobody's surprise, they're still number 1. The Boston Celtics, 37-11, best record in the NBA. They have the second best offense, the second defense, first in net rating. They have been number 1 the entire power ranking, you know, season, and I don't expect that to change. Looking at their numbers, I'll go through them. They're 5th in points per game, first in 3-pointers made, first in 3-point attempts, 4th in 3-point percentage, first in defensive rebounds, first in rebounds, first in blocks, 5th in effective field goal percentage, first in opponent points off turnovers, 3rd in opponent field goal percentage, 5th in opponent 3-point percentage, first in opponent free throws made, first in opponent free throw attempts, first in opponent free throw percentage, 5th in opponent assists per game. They've been great. The thing, though, they do have a little bit of things. They're 29th in steals. They do not force a lot of turnovers. They're 29th in opponent turnovers per game. They're one of the worst teams at forcing turnovers, which is really interesting. But I guess they just lock up defensively in one-on-one. They don't really get steals and stuff like that. And they also give up threes as well. They're 27th in opponent three-point attempts, but teams are not making so many threes on them. But they do give up a lot of threes. But yeah, the Celtics are just really, really, really good. They're the favorites right now for the championship. They should be. Jason Tatum, 27, 8, and 4 with a steal per game. Jaylen Brown has been getting it together. You know, Kristaps Porzingis, when he does play, he's super efficient. Honestly, he might be the second most impactful player on this team. Derek White, the best role player in the game. Will he make the All-Star team? I don't know. Jrue Holiday, really good. Sam Hauser has been really good. Al Horford has been good. Peyton Pritchard is coming in and playing a good role. I mean, they have guys like Luke Cornett, Neemias Queta, O'Shea Brissett come in and look good. You know, it's just the Celtics are really good. They have probably the best 5-man lineup in the NBA. They should be the championship favorites. And honestly, right now, if they don't win a championship, it looks like a disappointment for now, at least. Like, they've just been running through the competition. They got good wins. They shoot threes. They hit threes. They have really good role players. They have really good defense. They have it all right now. And yeah, not really much more to say about the Boston Celtics. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Now, my little announcement is that next week, Thursday, is the trade deadline. I'll be going live. We'll have a live stream. We're going to be live reacting to the NBA trade deadline. What time? I don't really know yet. I'll figure it out eventually because, again, time zones and stuff like that. And, of course, trade deadline ends at 3 o'clock Eastern time. So, of course, I want to be there a few hours before the trade deadline. But, yeah, I'm going to be going live on the channel. Make a community post and stuff about it. I'm going to mention it in every other video so you don't, be reminded. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens. Live trade deadline reaction, so be there, And yeah, once again, thank you guys for 500 subscribers. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button, turn notifications, stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really upset a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.